guys, it's ASBYT and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, a few days ago, I did do a video on the Xiaomi Pocophone F1 or Poco F1 or Pinocchio Formula 1. And in that video, I gave like introductory bits of information about the actual smartphone. But afterwards, and since the launch, I've been getting tons and tons of questions about my personal opinion on the phone. So I thought I would address it all in one video because I think it might actually help you if you are looking to possibly buy this phone. So without further ado, let's see what Pinocchio's phone's got in store. Hi guys and welcome back to a brand new video. Like I said, today we're talking about Xiaomi's new smartphone and we're going to run down all of the specs of the smartphone and then give my personal opinion on where I think it's going to be a success and where I think it's going to be a failure. We'll also be talking a little bit about where Xiaomi are looking to actually market this phone. Of course, I will be looking to get my hands on it as soon as possible for you so I can unbox it and do a review. If they could send me a copy and then wink wink, we can get that sorted for you. Right, so firstly, let's clear up the name. Poco is a subsection of Xiaomi, so they basically, in a similar way to Huawei and the Honor brand, it's part of the same name, but it is a subsection and they have their own setup basically. And again, similar to Huawei and Honor, it seems like this has been done in order to create really good smartphones and trying to sell them to a sort of mid to budget audience. They've probably seen how successful it's been for Huawei and they're looking to sort of cash in on that. So following on from this, let's actually look at the specs to see whether this is going to be possible. The Snapdragon 845, of course, which is the fastest chipset currently on the market, and this is the cheapest possible Snapdragon 845 phone. Period. Xiaomi with the Poco F1 have completely blitzed the whole scene. Currently retails for $300 US. Right, so very quickly, it's got a 6.18 inch display, 2246 by 1080. It does have a notch, which is going to turn a lot of people off. Variants of either 6GB or 8GB of RAM, micro SD card expansion, and that's up to 256GB. And the battery is 4000 mAh. Now it's got a dual camera, and the primary sensor is 12 megapixel IMX363 with f1.9 aperture, and the primary sensor is actually taken from the Mi Mix 2S, which scored incredibly highly in the DxO Mark scores. It's a very good camera, and that phone is far more expensive. The secondary lens is 5 megapixels with f2.0 aperture, and there's also EIS to stabilize video, and that video can be shot up to 4K at 30 frames a second. Headphone jack, tick. Gorilla Glass on the front, and this is where, in my opinion, it lets itself down. On the back, it is a plastic back. It's an ugly-ish look, in my opinion anyway. Many of you guys like it. It, to me, looks ugly. When you compare it to other phones and even cheaper phones, they use metal or glass and look more premium. Having said that, on the flip side, this plastic is more durable, and many people put cases on their phones anyway, so even if you've got a metal or a glass phone back, if you're putting a case on it, what's the point in paying extra for a phone if you just care about the look of it being metal or glass if you then throw a case on it? The operating system is MIUI 9.6, which is over the top of Android 8.1, but they have promised that Android Pie will be there within 3 months, and that's pretty impressive when, again, we consider that this phone is being marketed in a mid to budget area. They have actually made a few tweaks to the software on this phone as well, giving it an app drawer, for example, much like we see on stock Android. Quick charge 3.0, full phone charge within about 2 hours, and you can charge up to 50% within 30 minutes. It also, for you guys that are into gaming and PUBG and things like that, it does have liquid cooling, which means that it will keep the phone a lot cooler than other phones. As an example, it has already been tested compared to the likes of the OnePlus 6, and temperature has risen significantly higher on the OnePlus 6 than it has on the Poco F1. Right, so they are the core specs. Now let me talk about why I think this phone is potentially one of the biggest success stories of this year and one of the biggest failures. So first off, why is this phone going to be a success? For all of these specs, base model of $300 US, which is crazy when you consider the phones that it's up against that many people in the world already think are flagship killers. We've got the likes of the Honor 10, which starts at sort of $400 US, the Asus Zenfone 5Z, which I think is more expensive than that, and then the OnePlus 6, which starts at sort of $500 US, and these are all considered amazing value for money. This is $300 US. And yes, the Poco F1 isn't going to look quite as premium as these three because these are metal and glass. But for you guys who are running a very tight financial ship at this moment in time, and that extra $100 is vital for you, then if you forget the external of the phone and the fact that it's got quite a large notch and the fact that it's got a plastic back, if you can forget that and think about the internals, then it has to be one of the best deals going. I can see this phone going down an absolute storm based on how popular the flagship killer phones already are. And this takes it to a whole new level with this price range. On the flip side, why do I think this phone might be also a massive failure for the company? And of course, these are just opinions that sprung into my head probably about 3 minutes before turning on the camera, so I could well and truly be very wrong. But it's just an observation, which is what YouTube's about, surely. Two main reasons. The first one is the fact that if this phone is available at this price, with these specs, who's going to be buying the 1,000 other phones that Xiaomi have made this year? Are you going to go out there and get the Redmi 6 Pro, the Mi A2 Lite, the Mi A2 Original, and the countless other budget and mid-range phones that they've created this year when this phone is available for $300 US? Yes, there will be people who can only afford $100 or $200, but for anyone in and around that area, this phone jumps out hugely. So surely it's going to cannibalize the sales of those other smartphones for Xiaomi. So there's going to be a huge dip of people buying the other phones that Xiaomi have created this year, even the likes of the Xiaomi Mi 8, their flagship, and the Mi Mix 2S, and the Mi Mix 3, which is going to be released in September. I guarantee for a fact that those phones are going to drop in sales because this has the same specs as those. And yeah, for a slight bit of build quality difference, it's far more affordable. So surely their profits are going to take a hit from this. They must have to, unless they don't, of course, because like I said, just something that popped into my head about 5 minutes ago. The second reason why I think that this phone might actually be let down and become a less of a phone than we can see at first sort of impressions, and that's of course the build quality, like I've already mentioned. They're releasing a pretty much flagship device specs wise for $300 US, $700 less than Samsung, Apple. They've got to be clawing back the savings somewhere. And yes, it's a plastic backed phone, but are they making sacrifices elsewhere with the build quality outside of what you can see as well? How durable is this phone going to be over 3 months, 6 months, a year? Is it going to break down? I don't know, but it would be very interesting to see and review over that time period. This is where I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the Poco F1? Is it a phone that you are very interested in? Is it a phone that you're going to go and buy? Is it a phone you're going to swerve for whatever reason? Let me know. Or is the build quality completely put you off regardless of the price, even though the specs are so great? And like I said at the start, I am going to try and get my hands on it to unbox it and review for you guys so that I can give you a better opinion if you are indeed looking to make that purchase. Like and share if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're new to the channel and want to be notified every time I post a video on anything tech, pretty much daily content on this channel. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Say ASBYT. Peace out.